Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sebastien. I'm working in the desktop team, and I'm going to demo some of the tooling we are using in desktop and talk a bit about the plans we have for next cycle. So first report is our versions page, which is one we have had for a long time. The URL is at the bottom. So that's an example of one of the views. Like that's the main view for the deb packages. I will zoom on one line and show a bit all the information we can find them. So each line is a source package from the archive. So we have the name of the package in the archive, the Ubuntu version, so it is a current series. We do have a subpage for like a stable series as well, where we do track a subset of the updates. There's a Debian version, and we have a scheme of unstable and experimental, so we can like look at both targets. And that's the upstream version. Upstream version also we can define a stable branch and unstable branch, and they are tracked in different way. So we can know when we track a defined series, we can know whether there is a new series, maybe upstream, which are not tracking yet.
So regarding the importation here, so are you parsing Debian watch file?
No, so that's my next slide. That's an example. We do have a definition in the script because Debian watch is nice, but it's not dynamic enough. We don't want to have to upload every source package to define, like, change the series we are tracking or like fix some upstream changes. It's just not enough velocity. So it's a bit of duplication, but that's the format. There's a few examples there. Like,
another quick question. Where do you run this automation? Where is it run?
Currently is run on the machine hosting the people page in Canonical Data Center. But we were looking at maybe doing it in a GitHub Actions, but I don't know. I need to do testing because I think the access speed to the archive and to Launchpad make a difference on the refresh time. So I need to see if it's as efficient on GitHub that it is in the data center. So that's a few examples. Like there we can see like GDM. There's a notion for GNOME. Well, we have like standard definition includes for like the measure upstream, like FreeDesktop, GNOME, SourceForge, GitHub, GitLab. And then you can specify a specific version. And GNOME stable series is an alias we do define on the current version, GNOME version we are tracking. So GDM, as an example, the first definition is the stable version. The second, we don't specify a series, the unstable version, so we track whatever is current. And then we have a tag GNOME because we do sub-reports for like package set, and GDM is in the GNOME set, for example. And like the other, like gdisk, you can see it's on SourceForge, and we have our regeps to match on the web page to find the version. It's a bit more dynamic. And we have like extra columns for adding bug references to Launchpad bug reports. There's a specific tag, like it's an update version, which is making the Launchpad reference show on the report. And we have a comments, which is currently in a read from a Bazaar repo, or maybe it's Git now, but we never did the work to have like authentication on the web page. So the web page is a static report, and we have like the data in VCS. It's not optimal. It would be easier to edit from the web page, but it was easier to implement. I will zoom a bit on the Ubuntu column now. So the coloring tells us the status compared to upstream Debian. I will come back to it a bit later. And we have a bunch of information included in the report. So the S is for stable update pending. That's when a SRU needs verification. And if you mouse over, you have the reference to the bug that needs verification. The small icons is a sponsoring request, either a merge request or a bug on Launchpad for the package. And the B is when the package is blocked and proposed. Also, you get to mouse over the reason, like fail to build, auto package test missing or something. So, and we bubble at the top all the package with like action needed. That's why like at the top of the section you have like the color are mixed, but like we start with everything which needs sponsoring or which is blocked or needs SRU verification. We also include at the top of the report the status of other ISO images. So, well, that's an example from yesterday. That's because we don't have daily builds for the new series yet, but that's not really a warning, but I expect it at the start of the cycle. But at least we do notice when there is something we have like the current status of like the current ISO and the pending. So we know also when the job which is doing the promotion from pending to current is not working. So yeah. So that's the different section. But basically, like green is when we are up to date compared to Debian and upstream. And then there's different variant, like we can be in sync with Debian, but behind upstream. We can be behind Debian and behind upstream, which is red. So it tells us, like, you can look at the color to know if you need to merge on Debian, if you need to update a new version, or maybe if the package needs to be updated in Debian directly. And we have some stat, like at the graph, like at this time, 61% of our set is up to date. I did include at the bottom of the report a links to other useful reports for the team. So sometimes it's not obvious to people where to find information. So at least if you go to the bottom, you can go to the SRU verification, components mismatch, sponsoring queue, and a few other things. And we also build similar reports for other set of packages. Like it's a few, we have more, but like we have the boot, standard, desktop, foundation packages. So if other teams are like interested to see their report, it's on the same like namespace. So that was our first report. We did that for like 10 years. And I did a snap version like 2 years ago, which is a bit similar. Like there you have an example. It's listing our desktop snaps, their version in the different channel, upstream, and like a few other information. I'm going to zoom on those. Oh, name of the snap, like A of GNOME is the example there. So like it's automatically keep picking from the store the information of where it's built. So we are building on ARM64 and AMD64 today. You have the version and the revision in parentheses for each of the build. The color is like, it's yellow because there is a new upstream version. So it's colored as yellow. The red line, I will come back to it, upstream version. The top is like a build is pointing to the snap graph YAML. So if you click on it, you can see the manifest. And 42 is a version of the GNOME extension we are using to build the snap. And when the build is fading, there is the label is turning red, and you can click on it to get the build log as well. So it's easy to like navigate. And CV is the report is indicating when you have like stage packages in your snap, which has a CVE, which could be fixed with a rebuild. Like if we stage some debs from the archive, and the debs have a security update, but we didn't rebuild yet, you can mouse over and having the list of the issues which are still in the snap, and like that indicates us what we could be rebuilding to fix like some of security issues pending. Okay, so
there's no API that you can use to get this information from the store, or is it something that you can query? Hey, does my package have any? Because we get those emails from the store when
the CVEs.
Yes, when a package, when a snap is outdated because of some,
So something in the infra is emailing the contributors to the snap, but yes. Like when sometimes it's teams and sometimes it's easy to overlook, at least we have persistent notifications there. I will come back a bit to the CVE later. Another report we are using is a Ubuntu release KPI. They needed it a while ago, so we have a Grafana, and we have some stats. That's what's one of the view. Start of the cycle again, so the new queue has been spiking as we open the cycle. I did like an example. Well, that's the age of the current ISO, so it's increasing by 1 every day on the view because it's start of the cycle, and it's like we didn't build ISOs yet, but a few metrics we have is the age and the size of the different ISO images, and the collector is running for all the flavors, so it's not only desktop, but it's like this like the graph there is kinetic desktop, but you can show like the Ubuntu if you want, or like Ubuntu server or something else. And we have other like status of the queues, SRU, sponsoring, new queue, the auto package test, like the load, how many tests are queued, and a few more. And at the bottom is the project with the collectors. If anybody wants to add metrics to this graph, we just need to add collectors. Do
you have any alerts set up for this?
No, that's one thing I got from Lenny's talk this week. I would like to add some like alerting, but yeah.
Because I was actually, I forgot
Yeah.
Really great. We would never.
We have the age, we have the size. When there is an increase in size, I would like maybe to get a notification as well. So you know which day it increased, and it's easier to look than when you look a month later.
Yes.
So just going back to a technical implementation, that's the CVE report from the snaps I talked about earlier. It's a script. It's running as a GitHub action. It's a small Python script which is using the review tools check notice, and which is iterating over all our snaps, and just it's building a report like it's a YAML file. You can see on the left what it looks like, and our report is just parsing the YAML file. But like you could be doing this for other set of snaps and having your own integration. It's like the job is easy. It's running just using the standard tools from the store, and you get the like Epiphany, that's all the revisions in the store. None have security issues pending, but you can see that events like 1017 as of you have the USN reference to the like pending fixes. And so just our build of the snap would like get us to a good state again. I don't have a screenshot there. It's just I've been working on snapchange, which is like a sort of debdiff script for snaps, which allow us to see the difference between the snap in two channels. So it's doing a bunch of stuff. It's showing you the diff in the manifest in the snapcraft build, but also in the stage package. So if you pick a new version or like a new revision, and then add the content, like if you added file, remove file, if the site changes, you had a bunch of affirmations there. And I did some prototype of automation on GitHub using it. So the automation is every time a new snap is built in candidate channel, it's opening an issue with a diff included. So it gives us an idea of all the snaps that needs to be reviewed for promotion from candidate to stable. So you have the list of bugs like this, and it closes them if you are not using the report, but move your candidate to stable. The issue at the next run is going to be closed because there is no, like the mismatch has been resolved, so the script is automatically going to close the issue. And it's not on the list. The list is a current reflection of the pending candidates builds. So you get like in the content, that's the script running. Like in this case, it tells us we picked a new snapcraft version, and core is new core during this build, but it's a bit longer, and we have like special case. At the bottom, I do indicate typical warnings, like if there is a shared lib which got removed, it's a warning site, so I put a warning at the bottom. If the size changed more than 10%, I put a warning at the bottom. So it's like indication that maybe you need to be careful before promoting this package. And next is a bit less polished. It's the stuff I've been starting poking at, and we would like to spend more time on this cycle. So I'm working on GitHub actions and automation for a few cases, like automating rebuild from the CVE cases. Like if there is a CVE fix pending, just automatically click a new build in candidate, which would be picked by the report, and like sort of automation. And most of the desktop snaps only include the snapcraft, but not the upstream source. And they are building from tag or branch. And we would like to get some automation to automate when there is a new commit in the upstream branch, kick a new build in candidate channel without. So we would not have to do anything. We would just get the notification that the previous report shows a new candidate, and then you review the diff and maybe give it local testing. Local testing first, but ideally we would like to get auto package test or something plugged in. So we would get like auto basic testing and like the diff and everything, and diff for review. So it's easy to say like, looks good, I give it a try, and I do the promotion, and that's the only job I need to be doing. And for building from tags, we would like to build, when there is a new tag in the same series upstream, also do either a pull request or like automatic bump of the tag in the candidate channel, and same process, like it would be picked up by the system. And that's the current stuff we are working on from desktop side, but those reports, they are like, the list of snaps or event depths is I will move it like it's inline for now, but it's a table definition. So any team could be using it with their own list or their own set of snaps debs, like as they like. Well, I have time for question and like more if you want.
You mentioned that there's already a report for those versions for foundation packages as well?
Yeah. Let me.
There's something that we need to. There's desktop.
If you look at the bottom, so the foundation set.
The top.
So ISO is hard-coded to the desktop one today. Yeah. I didn't take this into consideration. It's the package set.
Doesn't have an ISO really.
All of the ISOs are ours. So.
Or that, I'll gladly give you ours.
Shit.
You could see, for example, that foundation has only 40% of this package up to date today. Yeah, but updating to the latest version is not always like the metrics you want. I mean, it's just an indication, but.
That will be our explanation.
Yeah.
We'll before the merge party, we will.
Yeah, so reports start by the outdated, but we also like a good. Yeah. Well, this one. SRU verification needed, so you see the title of the SRU. Like there you have the link to the merge request. I can show a bit more of the. Well, that's the snap report for. Like that's our report for desktop. Like Chromium, you see the different channel and like the build issues and stuff pending. That's the list of like. If I look at Epiphany, for example, you see like this one has like changed to the environment and the wrapper because the transition to the new Core 22, there is a bit more changes. So, and at the bottom you have like file added, difference of size if any. That's the CVE. So it's an action report is just like a big list of all the snaps. Which
I was asking about the CV import thing because as I mentioned about this, I was getting the emails about snaps being outdated because they contain packages that had CV fixes. So I was wondering, is there like some existing tool that already does that? So maybe just combining those two tools to and then have that application.
Well, how are you getting the CVEs? Are you using the tool that the USN thing that the security team has?
I'm basically.
So you clicked on the revision.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said using the API check notices.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's the same thing. Right?
Yeah, it's basically downloading the snaps and using the store review tool on all the snaps.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's the metrics. Like, for example, auto package test queue.
We need that for snaps.
There's a collector. And that's the metrics, like you have the description of how to add a collector, but like just ping me or maybe Lenny if he's around because he started the project, but like we would be happy to add more metrics to the board. Still 5 minutes if other people have questions.
If it's not a single slide, is there somewhere you can share all the URLs so you don't have to photograph the slides?
Yeah, I will do this, yeah.
Was like cooking through a fire hose, wasn't it?
There is a bit of consolidation to do as well, like the script to do the snap diff. I think Ken has a snap tools repo on his name, but we'll probably try to do a common place for maybe Snapcrafter or like desktop snap. I don't know.
At
Like
least several of us have our own repositories full of our own little scripts that we use, and we need to consolidate and put them in one shared place where everybody knows.
or maybe get them in Ubuntu DevTools. I don't know which would be the right place, but common place at least. One other tool from Ken is he has a LP rebuild for snaps, which is a command line
Snap.
LP build snap where you can use from a command line to kick a rebuild for any of the snap. And some of the toolings there, like the CV optimization, like I just use isScript to trigger the rebuilds.
Which is published as a snap. So you
Yeah.
just install that as a snap.
Well, thank you everyone.